Ouch. Ouch. That's not a fun gun to shoot. I don't know if I want to continue this at all.
Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and as I'm sure you saw from that opening, this is going to be a little bit different than most of my range reports. This is going to be more of a range report discussion because I really didn't put this particular gun through its usual paces. And this is going to be a discussion on the Kimber K6S. This is a snub-nose revolver made by Kimber, a very well-respected manufacturer, especially of 1911s, chambered in .357 Magnum, and as you can tell, it is hammerless, and probably designed for the concealed carry market. Now, I want to thank the person that made this range report possible, and that of course is going to be Ken, who owns this gun, is a local subscriber and lent this to the channel. And I want to thank my Patreons as always. And normally I would do a little ad spot for my primary sponsor who gives me all the ammunition for these range reports, and that is Mark from Brownworks. However, this is probably going to be a very negative review because I'm not really going to shoot this. I'm going to say some things about this gun that people aren't going to like. So I don't want to associate a negative review with my sponsors. But if you are interested and like to support the Texas Gun Vault, but not support me directly, but support people that do, please go out and check out Brownworks. I'm going to put a link in the description below and a pinned comment. He makes great grips. So I'm going to save the next ad read for one of the more positive and lengthy reviews. Now also, if you are new to my channel and have never seen any of my other range reports, I highly suggest that you go and do that before watching this video. The reason I say is because I don't want you to necessarily stereotype me or think I'm a certain type of reviewer, that I'm always negative, or I'm not a good shot, or I've never shot a snub-nose revolver before, or that I'm recoil sensitive. I've reviewed almost 200 firearms. Yeah, go to my range report playlist. I have reviewed a lot of guns. I am so blessed. It is awesome. So go watch another range report before watching this one, because I don't want to see people in the comment section below telling me a couple of things. You need to go watch this reviewer. He loved this gun. I don't want to hear that. We don't discuss other YouTube channels here because I don't want to cast shade on anybody, nor do I want to promote people. I don't get into that drama, and I understand how hard it is to run a YouTube channel. So I know that I've said a lot in kind of preference of this video, but let's talk about this particular gun. As I said, this is the Kimber K6S, a .357 Magnum revolver, snub nose, that is hammerless, and designed for the concealed carry market. So let's talk about some things that I like about this gun before I really start talking about how unenjoyable this firearm was and why I would not recommend it for anybody. Now, I know that's going to make some people upset because they might own this or think this is a fantastic gun or are just a revolver person in general. But please understand, I have a lot of positive things to say about this gun too. But let's talk about that. Okay, so obviously holding this gun, it looks beautiful. I think Kimber does a great job when it comes to their machining. I'm going to do another close-up of this. It really is a fantastic looking gun. And holding the gun, it also feels fantastic. It really does feel weighty. It looks and feels well constructed. All of the markings and engravings on it with the model name and the caliber, it looks great. I don't see any machine marks. It seems to be a very well put together gun. I even like the sights. I like these sights more than just about any snub-nose revolver I've ever shot. It's a 3-dot system. It looks like the front sight is interchangeable. The rear sight you can adjust for windage with a sight pusher. It really seems to have a lot of stuff going for it. And honestly, I thought I was going to like this gun a lot. Even though it is my least favorite type of revolver, and that is a double action only revolver. Now, it is my understanding that Kimber has come out with models that do have a hammer, but remember, this is a review of the gun that I have here on the table. I don't have one with a hammer, so I can't talk about it. So, as you saw from my shooting footage in the beginning of this video, it hurt. This gun was no fun to shoot. Now, when it comes to my personal collecting, when it comes to my personal carry style, this gun doesn't really have a role. But I always want to review every gun honestly. I like to tell you guys my biases, what I like, what I don't like, and always give each gun a shot. Because sometimes I change my mind. And honestly, I thought this was going to be the revolver that changed my mind on snub nose. I mean, it's a Kimber. It's well put together. It's beautiful. So let's talk about the good things. Stainless steel. Absolutely love stainless steel firearms, especially revolvers. They look great. I also love the fact that these chambers are recessed. I think that looks fantastic. It's very reminiscent of the old Smith & Wessons. We have those sights that I was talking about. There's the rear sight. And the front sight I'll have to show you from the side. Yeah, that is really nice. I like the design of this push button to release the cylinder. That is really nice. There's a lot of small details. I even like the grips of this gun. Well, the way that they look. And I was looking here at the bottom, it says they're made by Crimson Trace. Now, there's no laser in these grips, but they're made by Crimson Trace. They seem to have a nice grippy surface. They're not too rubberized. I hate the rubberized grips. It's kind of a harder rubber. I'd still want to change them out, but still pretty darn nice. And I have to say, for a double action pull, it's pretty darn good. It's definitely heavy, but that trigger pull is consistent. A little bit heavier than what I would like, but it feels just fine. So, as I said, before going to the range, I was like, I'm going to like this gun a lot. Just wish it had a hammer. But then I shot it. And so I started off with 38 Special. I knew I wasn't really going to have any problems with it. It was probably going to be a pretty enjoyable gun to shoot. And while I didn't have any problems with it, it didn't really hurt my hand, I did notice something immediately. And that is how short these grips are. These grips are really short. Now I have larger hands. Now, on 38 Special, this isn't too bad, but I can only get maybe 1.5, maybe 2 fingers on that grip. So that's not too bad. So on 38 Special, that doesn't recoil too much. It was okay. But it definitely flipped a lot more than what I'm used to. My wife's Smith & Wesson 38 Special snub nose has a little bit longer grip. And they're pink, of course, because she has to have pink grips. And it just recoils better. So I moved on up to 357 Magnum. And that's where I had the issue. I already knew this thing was going to kick like a mule because it's so small, so light, and that grip is so short. So I was hoping it was going to do better than it actually did. And there was a couple things that I didn't like. Man, this thing spit out the fire. So if you were going to use this as a concealed carry revolver, well, you're essentially holding a flashbang in your hand. Now, thank God I have never had to use any firearm in self-defense. And I hope that I never do. But I know that people that have talk about the adrenaline and the tunnel vision. And if you have a firearm that's going to hurt you and have that type of a flash and that type of a kick, well, I don't know how accurate you're going to be with it. How functional is it going to be as a weapon? You're already hyped up on adrenaline, and then you fire it. And let's say you have this thing loaded to 357 Magnum specs. It could jump out of your hand. I don't know. It just feels very powerful and overwhelming to me, even with that big flash and the recoil and these small grips. I know some people are probably going to tell me I'm a wuss, but that's why I ask you to go check out my other range reports. I can shoot 357 Magnum just fine. And as I'm going to show you in the little range footage I have here in just a moment, I really didn't have any problems visually with the recoil. I could manage it. I got through an entire cylinder. It just wasn't fun. It hurt my hands. Every shot was a big old fireball. And I think that really makes the gun not fun. It's not going to be a good range gun for me because I don't shoot it very accurate. As I said, I'm going to show you this footage in just a moment. I don't even know where 2 of the shots go when I'm shooting 357 Magnum. The recoil hurts my hand. It's really loud, and it's not that fun Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum loud. It's just loud in a small package. So it takes so much fun away. It's not a range toy. For me, it's not a very good concealed carry weapon because it doesn't have a hammer. It's only 6 shots. It's a lot of power. It's gonna flip. It's like having a flashbang in your hand, and it hurts. So for me, shooting this was a very eye-opening experience, and I think this was the only time I have ever just essentially shot the gun one time, turned around and said, nope, I'm done. I don't want to do a complete range report on it. But please don't misconstrue all these things that I'm saying negative about the gun to its quality. So I'm not really going to give a star rating like I typically do on my range reports on this particular gun. But I do want to break down a couple of things and just explain what my ratings probably would be. When it comes to the fit, finish, and quality of this gun, it really is almost a 5-star gun, with the exception of the hammer. As I said, the trigger is a little bit heavy, but it's smooth, and it just feels so well built. It's really a nice offering. I think it looks better than the Ruger LCR. I think it's better than the offerings from Taurus. I think it's even more balanced looking than the guns from Smith & Wesson. So from an aesthetic standpoint, a build standpoint, and a function standpoint, it's probably a 5-star gun. But shooting it, it hurt. I didn't shoot it very accurate. And so for that, I'd probably only give it about 1 star or 2 stars. But I don't want to give it an overall rating because it's not fair. I didn't shoot it like I normally would in any other range report. But before I kind of meander on here and give you guys my final thoughts, I do want to show you the little bit of range footage that I do have. So I'm going to set the target out at 7 yards. I'm going to shoot the left target with 38 special first, and then the right target with 357. 6 shots each. So you guys can actually see how I did. And as I told you, I don't even know where a couple of those shots went. The gun's just not fun, it's not accurate for me, but it's definitely well built. Man, if Kimber, I think, got into the business of making K-sized frames in revolvers, something like a Smith & Wesson 327 sized gun, I think they'd do a fantastic job, and I would be really, really interested in something like that. Something with maybe a 3-inch or a 4-inch barrel, something that had more substantial weight in the back, and of course, a longer grip. I think that'd be a fantastic revolver. So they just have to take what they have here and make it bigger. Now, my final thoughts are, I would not recommend this to any new shooters. I know that many times, especially women, when they go in to buy their first gun, people say, you need to buy a revolver. You don't have to worry about manipulating a slide. It's just pull the trigger and it goes bang. But I really think a new shooter shooting this, especially loaded the 357 Magnum, would not do us in the Second Amendment community any good. Because people that might be new to guns might be scared of guns. And if their first time shooting a firearm is a gun that is really snappy, really loud, a flamethrower, and hurts your hand, well, you're probably not going to want to go back to the range again. You might not even want to carry it if you purchased it. This thing just might languish in a drawer forever, never getting used. And we don't want that. Now, if you're a revolver specialist and a collector, this might be something to take a look at. As I said, from a quality standpoint, it seems to be extremely well built. But I don't think this is a good gun for a novice shooter. I don't think it's a good gun for a woman or somebody just starting out. But if you love snub-nosed, I don't think you can go wrong with it. I just didn't enjoy it. It was no fun, and it hurt. It's like having a flashbang in your hand. So there you go. I know this is a very different range report than pretty much anything that has ever come before. And hopefully my next one is going to be normal. But I had this one in for a review and I had a unique experience with it. And so I wanted to share it with you. So What do you guys think? I know there's going to be some people in the comment section below that say, Jason, you got this one wrong. You're a whip. You don't know how to shoot revolvers well. And you know, I do have a lot to learn. I can always get better, but I know what I'm doing. I've shot revolvers before. I shoot a lot of guns. This one just wasn't fun, and I didn't want to shoot it any more than 12 rounds. So there you go, my thoughts, opinions, and experiences with the Kimber K6S. Let me know in the comments if I got it wrong, if you agree, and if you thought I completely messed up this range report. I'd love to know. We can have a great discussion. So, as always, thanks for watching.